this turn now. I want to line this up on about 90 degrees. There we go. Unfold that. I'm going to zoom back a bit so I can see the full width of the implement. Yeah, this is the not so realistic way I do things. Technically I should be sitting in here and checking out the back to see what I'm doing, but since I don't have a head tracker or anything like that, that's kind of awkward. So yeah, turning my head round with the mouse is a laborious thing, so we'll just play in third person for now. So this seeder I think is about 12 meters wide, which is just sufficient for this particular tractor, that we can make a 180 degree turn with the radius that this tractor is capable of. Anything smaller and you have to shimmy around at the end of the field in order to actually make the turn. Normally I'll start with sort of 6 meter machinery, which doesn't need the horsepower that this tractor is capable of outputting. And so smaller tractor, better turn radius. But we have so many fields and so many big pieces of equipment that I can justify having 2 tractors of this size. So I can be planting one field and cultivating another, or ploughing one field, whatever. And then we've got a couple of medium-sized tractors that we can do other farm work with smaller bits of equipment. So things like our spraying is done by a very small 100 horsepower tractor. And it's about the only thing we actually use that tractor for. So again, it's justifying, you know, the amount of equipment you have with your farm needs. Now I did pay to have GPS installed on this, so I could do this using GPS. Sometimes it is easier, but another thing to remember is we're about to move into Farming Simulator 22, where GPS is not going to be available, since it's a mod on this one. So I need to get back into practice doing hand-eye coordination on an awful lot of jobs. Harvesting I tend not to, because it's very difficult. You don't waste anything except maybe diesel driving up and down the field. With this, because this is a direct seeder, everywhere that I'm driving that I already planted seed, when the planter drives over it, it rips up the seed that's already in the ground and replants it. And that's a little bit unfortunate, because I end up using more. You can end up using more seed than you really need to. If I bothered to use the GPS, I would get less overlap at this point on the right side, so I wouldn't be wasting any seed at all. But I am wasting very small amounts, and so that's a cost of planting the field, but I am okay with that. But the GPS mod in Farm Sim 19 actually costs you money to install it into equipment, so I do have a lot of vehicles that do not have GPS. I think the case and the JCB, I didn't bother with GPS because I primarily use them for carting or on the mowing train. But the big tractors I'm doing ploughing, cultivating, and primarily seeding. And seeding, they do benefit from having GPS. My harvester doesn't have GPS because if you run a harvester over the same point that you've already harvested, it doesn't matter because there's nothing there to harvest. But my tiny tractor or my small tractor, I do have GPS on because if you need to run fertilizer in a field and the field is quite well established, I don't like doing that because I have crop destruction turned on, so I am going to damage the crops if I do drive over established crops. But when the crops are established, you can't see the dirt, so you can't see the texture change on where you've been with the sprayer already. So GPS helps with that. Needed less so than in base game. I'm also playing with precision farming, which turns that little what's it called? The PDA map in the bottom right hand corner will show me where I've already been with the what's it called? With the fertilizer, with the spreader. So I don't have to worry so much about knowing where I've already been. Also with precision farming, it does it shuts off nozzles where you've already been, so you're not over fertilizing something. Now you can do, if you disconnect the fertilizer spreader and then reattach it, you can go over the same area again. But with precision farming, if the fertilizer is at, or if the nitrogen content is at the ideal for the crop that's in the ground, it won't add any more fertilizer. Not true of manure spreaders, but I think what I might do is I might do a headland now. So again, wasting seed across the width of the planter here. And now we're not. But also with the standard game, a seeder will not plant where the ground is not capable of accepting seed. So I can drive all the way over and have half the seeder outside of the field like this. That doesn't matter, I'm not wasting any seed on that grass strip on the outside. It just reduces the amount of seed that we're actually using. Obviously not the greatest idea, because I want to cover as much of the field as possible in each pass. And then you get non-direct drills, basic planters, which only plant where there isn't anything already. So you can't waste seed on those because if there's seed already in the ground, they won't plant any more there, even if it's a different type of crop in the ground. Anyway, we'll get this job done. We'll jump down shortly to the JCB, see how the BGA is doing. I'm going to have to go around this bit again. Okay, here, pick up the row again. doing? We're below 50%, and we actually, well, we're below 50% of the seed that we bought. More importantly, we're only 13%, but we didn't fill up to capacity, so that's not, the 12% is not a significant number in our grand scheme of things. The 752 is, so that's, we're now 2/3 through almost what we bought. I think we are at, let's have a look at the field. I don't know. Okay, this is okay, on the mod hub it's the AgCo 1000, and you can buy it. Let's take a look at it. It's under large tractors. So AgCo 1000, and the icon green and yellow. You can see it defaults Fendt initially, and you can brand Fendt. You can brand Challenger. Challenger Specialized, which gives you fancy wheels. Fendt Gens, which is the forestry green and special, and you can do it in Fendt Silver, which is kind of cool looking. Not sure if you can do it. Oh, you can do it specialized as well. So the only one you can't get specialized is the straight Fendt. You then get the main Fendt color, and you can only select the Fendt colors here. If I go to Challenger, it says green, but it overrides the color to yellow at that point. Same with the rims, and then wheel weights, wide tires with weights. You can get narrows on this thing. Okay then, not that I would. Rear twins. Oh, with spacers. So that's good for root crop harvesting. Oh, and you get narrow twins. Yeah. Shows how much I've investigated this tractor since Twin Wheels US back to standard. You can, obviously, global positioning is another mod. AgCo Challenger we did. You can have front fenders, yes or no. You can have the forestry cage, which you'd probably usually use with the that one. So that protects the cab from falling trees and stuff. Forestry cage, yes, no. You've got beacon light standard, LED orange to standard, honk, whatever that sounds like, I don't know. And then engine sizes, we're starting at 396, so I've only got the 1038. 435, 476, 517. So a good range of engines, but that's the AgCo 1000. I really do like that mod. It's a very, very good mod. How did we do with bales? We got 70 last week from that lower field and a further 64 this morning. So all in all, we got 130 bales on that bottom field. And then I think it was around about 70 from that field over there. So an impressive number of bales was achieved from this latest harvest, I would say. We're keeping 28 of them for winter and spring feed for the sheep, and we are going to be taking all of the remainder down to the BGA to sell and create digestate so we can fertilize our fields, because that's primarily why I do a lot of grass product on this farm, is to make sure our arable fields are productive. We're certainly growing the arable side of this farm. Okay, need to pay attention here because this is going to be an overly tight turn. And again, I made a mess over here with reaching the edge of the field, so there is going to be some further overplanting. What are we doing here? This is okay, that's sufficient. Again here. I was thinking maybe I wouldn't go entirely OCD farmer on myself, but sometimes OCD farmer gets the best of me, and you have to plant everywhere. I think what we'll do there is we'll reverse back and get that edge that I missed. Oops, other way. Something like that. Not exactly elegant. Good grief. So I have noticed in farms around Michigan and Ohio, what you see is a lot of rows like that, and then there is a strip of planting around the edge of the field like I'm doing here. So when you look at the just planted field, you see the grain of the planting goes round the edge of the field. Once, maybe twice. I mean, obviously a lot of the times I don't see the planting going on. All I get to see is the results. But the farmers will row up the middle rather than do the outside edge and then row afterwards. Although, as far as farm sim is concerned, it's a lot easier to do the headland first and then the rows afterwards, because I can see as soon as I get to where I'm going, I'm close enough to the edge. And you're always going to get some amount of over planting doing it this way anyway. Now I do know, obviously using course play, if it worked well with all the fields on this map, I might have considered persevering with it, but it has issues with fields that are right on the map boundary. You can set it up to do the center and then and that's the thing. I mean, when we do planting this way, what a lot of people will do, especially if the field isn't square, they'll plant the edge and they'll do a couple of headlands and then they'll set a worker off doing the rows, because the workers and that's what I was saying. You can see, and I've seen the evidence where real world farmers do the headland last. You can emulate that if you don't use workers for the task. And instead use course play, because course play still uses a worker, but it's a programmed worker, and you can just tell it to plot the rows, and then once you've done all of the rows and it gets close to the edge, but it'll leave a gap, and then you tell it how many headlands you want to do and it'll just run around the outside of the field that many times to just finish it off. I am worried now. We're down to 200 litres of seed. don't know if there's enough seed in the tank to finish this field. Although this is, again, this is bonus field, or bonus crop. I just noticed that we could do it this way. So it's with this geo that barley becomes kind of useful for the two late season plant crops, so soybeans and corn. You can plant barley in the fall after the harvest of a crop, and then harvest it in spring and immediately put corn or soybeans in the field to get two harvests. And for this region, it's the only valid crop. You could do it with cotton, you could do it with sugarcane, but they're not a crop I would plant in the UK. They're not a crop that is planted in the UK. Oh, 50. We are going to run out. We are going to have to go back to the store. And it's the only thing we can do. Not even sure I'll finish this row. If I finish this row, then I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to finish this row. We're done. Let's fold that up and go get some more seed. Well done. It was close. That probably means we're also going to need 2 pallets of corn when we do this. What I do want to check is nitrogen 100 of 120. We've actually got... I don't have to fertilise this if I don't want to. And again, bonus crop, I could save money and just not fertilise it, because it's not going to use a lot of fertiliser though. So yeah, it's just another drive out to the field to do this. But I think I might leave it and just what grows grows, what we harvest. Might spread some herbicide on that field, because we are having a progressively worse weed problem as time passes. Obviously, base game you get 100% weeds on the fields when the weeds happen, and they're sort of a timed event. With seasons, you only get patches of weeds growing throughout the year, but unless you spray your crop with herbicide, just the weeds keep growing, and whilst ploughing and harvesting will destroy what weeds you can see, the patch of ground is still classed as having weeds on it, and they will regrow immediately at full height, so you have to put herbicide down in order to destroy them. So I'm thinking this year, though we've only gone 1 year, I might, especially things like clover and grass fields, I might just go out there and just kill the weeds immediately with herbicide, just because every time you harvest it gets worse. Kind of like in real life, I think. Okay, let's order up another pallet of barley. Barley. There's the barley. So now we're going to have leftover barley. I guess that's okay. If we're going to be, from now onwards, we're going to be planting maize in at least 1 field per year, so that we've got food stuff for the sheep over winter, because grass is not available and you can't store it. So I can't do anything about this winter. Our sheep are going to be hungry for grass, and well, it is what it is. But next winter, we'll do a maize, an actual maize harvest, and keep that on hand to feed the sheep. And then come spring, we'll put the rest in a silage bunker and create maize silage and sell that. Oh, I was going to pop over there and see what's what. But yeah, did I turn off the silver stream? I did. Let's do it with the front loader then. Well, that one's nearly partly used anyway. Okay, so that's another 50,000 litres of silage in the digester. Because I haven't been paying attention, so... One, two... It's about 30 bales of silage per stack here. Do this from the side, so we're actually it's a little bit dicey. Don't fall out the back. It's overloaded again, so that's good. Strength on, lift, and I dropped that one on my head. That's better. Don't fall off, come on. Oops, I'm bad. Wow, actually managed to knock two off the feeder. Put one there. Or not. There now. Oh, come on, drop it already. Okay. That's in place. I just want the other one in place. And we can leave that for an hour. There now, that's good.